Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome to another pick a card reading here at Transform with Rian. And we're going to be exploring the topic, which is very popular on my channel, of your future spouse or your future partner, depending on which type of terminology you use. And in this pick a card reading, we're going to find out more about their personality. All right, so we have three options as usual here. So go ahead and close your eyes, take a deep breath in and out. Get your energies calm, centered, and grounded. And whenever you feel ready, you can go ahead and pick one of these three piles. We have Wiccan, Winter Soldier, and Misty Knight. And there's also another card underneath as well to show another aspect of your future spouse or your future partner's personalities. So I will see you at your reading. Timestamps are below, but let's get started with group number one. So, hello there, group number one. Welcome to your pick a card reading today to find out more about your future spouse or your future partner's personality. So, you were drawn to the Wiccan card here, and it says self-control. Never heard of it. Now, on the flip side, we'll talk about that in just a moment. On the flip side, you also have Hela. And this deck is a little bit unique. If you'd been on my channel before, you would know that Hela and Captain Marvel, they both had the same thing. So, sentence on the bottom. So, what is actually correct, according to the little booklet, is all things must come to an end. That's what should be here for Hela. So, what do we have here? One of the things that I'm seeing about your future spouse's personality coming through with this is at times your future spouse can come off a little bit impulsive. So a little bit impulsive, maybe a little bit impatient, okay? The energy I'm feeling is a little bit maybe carefree at times, a little bit daring, a little bit bold. I can feel that your future spouse too at times, it's like they just throw caution to the wind, all right? It's like they don't really tend to have a lot of worries when it comes to just life in general and some of the decisions that they're making. I feel like at times maybe they don't think too far ahead in terms of consequences when it comes to some of the actions that they're taking. Like maybe, for example, your future spouse might have a tendency to make big purchases here and there without thinking too much of like saving money for the future kind of thing, or maybe investing money, that type of stuff. They're very much, I can say, like present in the moment, okay? That tends to be their vibe. And perhaps that's something that when the two of you come into union, you will tend to balance out for them, all right? Now, what are we feeling here with this Hela card? All things must come to an end. So I'm feeling here kind of in theme and I guess on brand, if you will, with your future spouse. They tend to probably wear themselves out. So with this self-control, it's kind of like your future spouse, sometimes they don't know how to balance things, and what they tend to do is push themselves really hard until they get to the point of like fatigue or burnout, and then they just sort of like collapse. I'm hearing too that maybe they're that type of person as well who pushes themselves so hard and maybe a little bit too far that they might even get sick, like they would catch a cold a little bit more easily. Or maybe their like stomach might get a little bit upset and they might have loose bowel movements or something. I know, kind of random. It's very interesting that I picked up on something like so specific as like, upset stomach, loose bowel movements kind of thing. And that's what actually makes them stop in life, okay? Because they tend to have this like go, go, go personality. They like to be busy. They like to be active. And, most of the time, the only way to stop them is if they fall ill or get sick or, heaven forbid, like get an injury, right? Like maybe they like to go running and be super active, and the only time they'll stop is if they like sprain their ankle, and need to take like a week rest, that kind of thing for it to recover. Does that make sense? Maybe you tend to have that personality as well at times, but I'm sensing more so for the majority of you that were drawn to this first reading is you are here to kind of balance this personality trait out that your future spouse or future partner has. Um, I'm also seeing here what's very interesting. I never noticed this before, but it almost looks like with these lines, I'm thinking of like strings, like puppet strings. I don't know if you watch a lot of like fantasy, sci fi, like superhero things, but right now I'm actually starting the second season of Alchemy of Souls. It was this very popular Korean drama. This first season like aired, I want to say last year, and the second season came out sometime this year or end of last year. But anyways, one of the characters, there's this mystical thread that you can attach to a person, and that way you can always find them in case they like go missing. You can pull on that magical thread to lead yourself towards this missing person that's attached to the thread. Now, in the show, it's kind of used in another way that's a little bit abusive, but if you plan on watching Alchemy of Souls, I won't spoil it for you. But that's like the gist of this thing. So I'm seeing these strings, and what I'm feeling is this energy of like a pulling or a tugging, almost like a little bit of a restriction thing, where it's like people are encouraging your future spouse or partner to kind of like slow down, take it easy, like don't push yourself so hard to the point that you fall sick or something. Like pace yourself. But they're really not listening. They're a bit stubborn in that way. That's what I'm hearing. Very headstrong. That's a very good way to put it. Very headstrong. Um, they're they just kind of they don't know when to quit. I think part of it is because they have a lot of energy to burn, but I think a lot of your future spouse or future partner, for those of you drawn to this first pile, I get the sense too that they're quite ambitious, where they have a lot of things they want to accomplish in their life, or even just within the day or within a week, and they're very kind of committed to seeing all of that done, seeing it through to completion. Um, they're big on productivity, is what I'm hearing. Also, I wanted to point out too with this self control, I'm hearing that it could be that your future spouse can also indulge maybe at times when it comes to eating and drinking, right? Like maybe they eat a little bit too much. Maybe they have a little bit of a vice when it comes to like sweets or alcohol or fried fatty foods, that kind of thing. And it can have effects on their health. So maybe they'll listen to you when you come into union and learn how to pace themselves and be more balanced, both with their time, with their physical energy, and with their physical health. So let's pull another card here from my newest deck. So we got this Mermaid card. I feel open. So I'm getting this vibe here that your future spouse or partner, they tend to have a very optimistic personality, okay? Um, there's like, it's almost like there's two sides to the same coin, right? When someone is so outgoing, so positive minded, they don't really have a lot of self-limiting thoughts, which can get them very far in life. If you're familiar with like law of attraction, mindfulness, mindset, that kind of thing, you totally understand how our own self-limiting beliefs can kind of hold us back in life. So I don't see that as really a problem when it comes to your future spouse or partner achieving their goals and dreams and getting things done. But on the flip side of that, when they don't have this concept of limitations, again, they can really push themselves and not have a very good sense of life in balance. Okay, does that make sense? Um, I see that they're also surrounded by a lot of friends. That's what I'm seeing with all this like sea life. So it's almost is making me think of that scene in The Little Mermaid where Sebastian is singing Under the Sea, the Disney movie Under the Sea, where all the fish and the sea life comes together to put on this performance for Ariel. Um, and so I see that your future spouse, their energy is so big, it's so um, what is the word? Energizing to people, right? It's like their energy is very addictive. It's very attractive. Um, your future spouse has a lot of can-do energy and attitude to spare, and it kind of like leaches out of them, so that when people are around them, they almost feel just as inspired or excited as your future spouse does about whatever they're doing, whatever they're thinking about. So definitely they have this magnetic quality and this infectious energy about them. What's so interesting though is I see that this character here on the card is reading, but I actually feel like your future spouse doesn't necessarily like to read. I think what this is actually speaking more to is they like accumulating information, accumulating knowledge, and they're probably that type of person that gains it through interactions with others. So maybe taking a class, watching a lecture, watching something on YouTube, listening to a podcast. And then for whatever reason, Spirit is telling me it's not so much that they like to read, like they're not really about like reading books or blogs or magazine articles, or journals, scientific journals and research journals and stuff. They prefer more to like listen or watch programs or whatever to kind of get their knowledge. Okay, let's get some tarot cards out as well. Wow, I hope you're enjoying your reading so far. It's kind of cool that we're having almost this fully developed personality coming to life regarding your future spouse. Okay, I feel like Spirit wanted me to pull this Tower card out, so we're going to honor it. Let's start with these three and then we'll get a few more to round out your reading. So with the Tower card, I'll take a moment so you can kind of see this cool effect that it has on the flames and the lightning. So we have the Tower card here. Oh my goodness, how can we organize this? I guess we'll just do like that. And you also have the Empress card. I'll try to get that reflection out of the way, that glare from the light, and the Knight of Swords. So I feel like for sure this card here is, I feel the story kind of going this way. Sorry. Yes, more like this. Okay. I feel like the story that's playing out is in this kind of flow, in this kind of pattern. So very much go, 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 go. Your future spouse sort of has this mind over matter mentality where it's like, if I believe it, if I think it, like it can happen. It will go through. So it's like they don't always listen to the cues that their body might be telling them to say like, hey, take a break, take a breather, or it's time to stop and rest. They don't really listen to that because their mind and what they envision and see for themselves getting whatever done, seeing whatever specific outcome, it's like they don't rest until it's achieved. They push, 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 push. And to the point where, again, they collapse or get burnt out, or fall ill and need to pause to do a little bit of nurturing and taking time to themselves, to heal their body. And this could be something that, again, they'll probably be a little bit more in tune with, a little bit more mindful of when they come into union with you, when they connect with you and form this bond, this partnership. But I think they definitely need to kind of bring out that Empress energy more within themselves and realize that life isn't all about doing, go, 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 go. Like, life has this beautiful balance, and there has to be periods of rest, has to be periods of recuperation and recovery, and we see that in nature, right, with the seasons especially, and with day and night. Like, I mean, that's why we sleep, right? We're not like awake 24/7, moving, go, go, go. We all have to rest. And so it's bringing that natural flow and rhythm of life into more conscious practice for them. All right, let's see what else. I feel like we need these cards. Okay, so we also have the King of Cups, and you can see like part of his body is submerged in the water. And so I'm getting this vibe here that what this is saying is that your future spouse can have a tendency to get in a little over their head, right? Again, it's making me think of what we talked about earlier when we were highlighting Wiccan and the self-control. It's like maybe they drink a little bit too much when they go out with friends or when they're at a party or celebration, and then they vomit or they get a headache and hangover the next day. Or maybe they eat so much that they have really bad heartburn, or upset stomach, right, from maybe eating too much sweets or too much fatty foods, right? And so I'm feeling like with this King of Chalices, there has to be this balance between what their mind is telling them and what their body is telling them, okay? And that could be part of their lesson in this lifetime and what their soul and spirit is learning to have a better grasp or handle on. This over, so there's a bit of a glare there. We also have the Seven of Wands. So again, I think your future spouse can be a bit stubborn at times and a bit antagonistic, right? Sometimes it's like my way or the highway, or it doesn't matter if you agree with it, I'm going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter if it bothers you, I'm going to do it anyway, kind of thing. Because they're again very headstrong, and it's once they have their mind on something and they're set on something, it's very, very hard to dissuade them to take another path, go a different direction. You know, I'm seeing again strong-willed personality for sure. And they do, I'm hearing too that they may tend to like butt heads with people quite a bit. And it's not to say that they're an unpleasant person. Like I said, they're really magnetic and they can be really fun to be around. But at times, you know, kind of depending on the circumstance, depending on the situation, they can be a little bit domineering and bossy and like a dictator, right? At times where it's like, okay, well, this is what I want to do and this is what has to happen because I'm not going to budge, right? When they feel so strongly about something. We also have the Fool. So I think, you know, a lot of growth for them in this lifetime, a lot of lessons for them. Not to say that your you know, your future spouse is less spiritually advanced or aware as anybody else. I wouldn't make that type of comparison or that type of statement. It's just more what I'm feeling one of your future spouses, your future partners' sole purpose in this lifetime is really to understand like pacing, to understand timing, to understand how to maybe lead in a way where you're not coming off bossy or controlling, and be able to listen to others and incorporate their ideas and allow people to contribute, and also learn how to rest and how to take a back seat in things. Like I kind of feel like that's part of the lesson here in this lifetime for your future spouse is pacing themselves. Like we see this Fool kind of walking towards the edge of a cliff, and it's like, okay, are they going to stop or are they going to keep walking and then fall and stumble down this cliff face? And sometimes I think that's part of what your future spouse and partner, and maybe we as, you know, souls on this planet have to understand as well, as kind of like understanding what our limits are, in the sense of like, when do we need to take a rest, or when do we need to regroup and rethink and possibly change directions, or move on to something else and let something go, right? I kind of feel like this is a big lesson for them in this lifetime, that they're hopefully on their way to grasping fully. All right, so there's your reading. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. What do you like about your future spouse's personality, and what maybe you think might be challenging? Because, you know, we got to take everything when it comes to our partnership, right? The good and the bad. And I hope you enjoyed your reading. If you did, like, please like the video and subscribe to this channel. I'd love to continue to do more readings for you in the future. But thank you so much for joining me on this one. See you next time. Hello there, group number 2. Welcome to your pick a card reading to find out more about the personality of your future spouse, your future partner, whichever term you prefer. So, to start you off, we have the Winter Soldier, forever by your side. And you also have, on the flip side, Emma Frost. If you think I'm cold now, just wait. All right, so I have this beautiful, dynamic happening here with these two cards. So, on the one hand, you have this very loyal person here, okay? Loyal to a fault. That's the phrase that I'm hearing from Spirit about your future spouse, your future partner. And, they are definitely in that sort of headspace of if you are my partner, if you are my friend, if you are my family, I will stick by you through thick and thin, no matter what, like ride or die kind of vibe here. And it's a trait that they value, and not only like something that they embody and that is very important to them, but also like it's very important trait that they have in other people. I'm seeing with this level of loyalty that it gives them this sense of bravery where even if something makes them nervous, makes them fearful, they will still stand by your side because that's how much the loyalty sort of beats any fears or reservations they may have about a situation or circumstance. It's kind of like maybe they're afraid of like the doctor's office or hospitals because, I don't know, they're afraid of needles or something like that. But if one of their friends, if one of their family members, if you need to go receive care at the hospital, like they will go with you. They will stay by your side to be there for you and support you while you are getting care and treatment, even if the environment, if the setting makes them really nervous or scared. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the degree to which they take this loyalty and sticking by you through thick and thin. And I feel like, too, at times, it can take a lot to lose this person's trust and loyalty. I feel like kind of once they make this decision that they will stick by you, even if the person is doing something a little bit shady, something that can like be, harmful or create more problems for other people and even for your future spouse, like they'll still stick by them. It's almost like this loyalty is this feeling of even duty, okay, and filial piety. If you're familiar with that sort of mindset and culture of family loyalty and like respecting the elders no matter what they say and doing what they recommend and advise even if it doesn't feel like it's the best thing for you. I think that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Especially now I'm tuning into that particular thread of energy when it comes to family. Okay, so even if they may disagree, and I'm seeing even if you and your future spouse or partner agree on something, but maybe his or her like older sibling or one of the parents or one of the grandmas like has a different opinion, like they will submit to that other opinion just because they have this real dynamic of respecting the elders, and respecting their wisdom and their decisions for the family unit. So that could be a sort of stress and struggle in the relationship. And I'm also hearing too, again, going kind of circling back to how things might be harmful for them. Hopefully this is something that they can identify a little bit sooner and have a level of self-preservation and self-protection. But like again, if they have a friend who's kind of, a bad influence, who gets in trouble and or is even kind of like what's the word? Like there's a fancier word for someone who like mooches off of someone else. like a energy vampire, a parasite, like taking and not giving back. Like if they, I'm trying to think of the word for it, but anyways, if they have a friend like that, because of this loyalty to the friendship and like, oh, we've been friends for so long, like how can I abandon them? Like they will have a hard time letting that relationship go and cutting ties. Okay, that's what I'm really feeling for them. Now, on this other side with this Emma Frost, if you think I'm cold now, just wait. Like they are fiercely loyal, and they definitely, if you hurt their own, like if you hurt any of their family members, any of their close friends, if you get hurt by someone, like they are almost like a guard dog. Like they will get vicious and, you know, if there was ever an instance where there was like a disagreement or like a fight was about to ensue, which I definitely do not promote violence in any way, but if there was like an argument or whatever, like you want this person on your side because they will have your back. And they will stick up for you and they will stand up for you. That's like, again, how loyal they are. And it's like, you know, what is that? Is there that phrase like the enemy of my friend is my enemy? I know there's also like the enemy of the enemy is my friend or my ally or whatever. But anyways, so it's kind of like, again, with this level of loyalty, it's like if there is someone who like goes against you or crosses you or insults you or is like mean to you, like they will take it very personally. It's almost as if that person insulted or hurt them directly, even if you were the sort of recipient of that, right? Like they will come at them. So very fiercely defensive, fiercely protective. That's another vibe that I'm getting. And now I'm kind of, as I saw the word cold, I'm definitely seeing like, contrary to maybe group number one's person, like your person kind of has this aloof energy to them. Maybe they're a little bit cold, especially to people who are not part of their inner circle. You know, they can come off a little uncaring, a little bit aloof. And I think it's just because, you know, they have the people that they care about, and that's like plenty for them. They don't feel like they need to win any popularity or Mr. Miss Congeniality awards. Like it's like, you know, I don't care. Like I'm not here to be everybody's friend. Like these are the people that I care about, and these are the people who are my priority, and then that's it. Like I know I'm not gonna please everybody or make everyone else happy, but these are the people that I care about, whose happiness I care about, right? These people right here. So I think that's definitely the energy that they kind of put out there in the world. And I wouldn't, again, just to make it clear, like I don't think your future spouse is a mean person or is someone that's always looking for a fight or looking for a battle. It's like not that at all. It's just, you know, they're not all smiles and giggles and laughter and warm fuzzy feelings with strangers or people that they don't know, you know? So what else do we have here? Oh, this is very, very interesting. We have this fairy that says, I am a child. So what I'm feeling with this card is it's very much, again, in line and on brand with who I'm getting the vibe of who your future spouse is and what they're like is that to them, the world is very simple. They tend not to overthink things. You know, it's like, hey, you're my brother, you're my sister, I have your back. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Even if you're in the wrong, even if you brought this upon yourself, I will always have your back. I will always be here for you because that is how I show I care. That is how I show I love you, you know? And so it's very simple to them. It's life to them is very black and white. All right. There's no in between. There's no overthinking. It's kind of like I'm hurt. You hurt somebody that I care about. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm gonna be sad. Right? Like it's very clear cut. It's not like a, oh, I mean, I get why you did that, so I can understand your point of view, but let's come to like an agreement. It's like they don't really have that sort of thought process. It's just like, whoa, what did you just say? Or what did you do to them? I can't believe you did that. Like, pay them back. or apologize right now, right? Like, it's just, they don't even care. It's like, if someone's hurt, if someone's crying, that's all they need to know. And on the other side of that, if it's like you're good to them, you're kind to them, like they will remember that. And it doesn't really matter what other people say about that person. If someone has like something mean to say, it's like, well, that person was nice to me, so I'm gonna be nice back to them, right? It's very much this simplistic mindset, almost like that, what is it? What do we call that? Like a saying or like a moral belief is like, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, right? It's kind of like that's how they see life. So they're not that type of person that also goes off a lot of other people's experiences and other people's advice per se. I'm seeing here with this child energy, it's like it's their experiences, it's what they've gone through themselves personally that they tend to use to make their decisions on how to handle stuff, right? So someone might be like, oh, I chose not to work with that person because I heard that they're lazy or whatever. Like, they don't really pay attention to a lot of gossip and hearsay, and they just go themselves, right? I'm also hearing, which is so interesting because this is something that I'm definitely not like. How many of you use Yelp or Google reviews when you're looking up places to stay when you travel, or like restaurants to eat at? How many of you use that? I know I do. And I like to look for like the top rated restaurants and places to stay. And, eat. And then occasionally I'll look at like reviews and ratings for places to stay. And I kind of read a lot of the reviews to see like what's the popular dish, and what's the food taste like in general, what's the atmosphere like, right? And then I make a decision on whether or not I want to go eat at that place or try this food. Your future spouse is not like that, okay? Maybe you're like that. For sure, I'm like that. But your future spouse does not care. They're kind of like, I don't care about ratings and reviews when it comes to even movies and TV shows. It's like, if they're interested in it, they want to try it, that's all they need to know. They don't care whatever anyone else thinks about it. And sometimes there'll be that situation as well where they think something was good and majority of people thought it was gross, or vice versa. They think something was disgusting and a lot of people think it really tastes good, right? I feel like they're kind of I almost feel like they're this type of person that kind of marches to the beat of their own drum. They really don't care about what other people think or say. It's more about what people are doing and their actions, right? Like, okay, are you doing good things? Are you doing bad things? Then that will kind of dictate how they interact with you, unless, of course, you're like family or whatever, in which case, of course, they'll have your back. So very interesting. I'm also sensing like this person could have probably like a lot of earth energy or earth placements when it comes to their birth chart. So Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, because their energy does tend to be a little bit stubborn, a little bit unwavering, unchanging, right? Versus like air signs like me and fire signs, where it's almost kind of like we're very go with the flow and like we can change the drop of a dime, our thoughts, our opinions, our mood, that kind of thing. Versus I feel like this person's energy is very like predictable, very kind of stable, unchanging for the most part. Kind of like how they were as a child is probably very, very similar to how they are as an adult, Okay, let's get some tarot out as well and see what else we can learn about your future spouse, your future partner's personality. Okay, I feel like Spirit's just like these two for now. So Four of Coins, oh my gosh, were we not just talking about like this stability here? So we see this man hugging so tightly, so dearly to this coin. And again, this is speaking to the relationships, for one thing, that your future spouse has, like this foundation. So family is really, really, really important to them. I wouldn't be surprised too if they have many friends from their childhood that they're still friends with as an adult. Again, these like things that were present since their youth, they tend to hang on to and hold on to well into their adulthood, okay? And we also have the Two of Swords. So what I'm getting the vibe from this energy here with the Two of Swords is they can like turn a blind eye to some of the behaviors and patterns of their family members, their closest friends, to you, just out of loyalty. You know, it's kind of like the situation where maybe you've noticed this with friends or family, where like, hey, I can see like you may be struggling, or you may have a problem with I don't know, drinking or spending too much money. It would probably be better if you cut back on alcohol and cut back on the spending on, you know, unnecessarily things, and maybe try to start saving, right? And maybe you're that type of person who might bring that up and try to encourage a more balanced or better behavior patterns, right, for someone's health and well-being. And with your future spouse or partner, it's like they see those things happening, but they won't say anything about it, or they notice it, and maybe at times they are in denial about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost as if, you know, family, close friends, again, you as their future spouse or partner, it's like you're what makes them so strong and gives them so much motivation and power and drive to get things done in life. And they can muster a lot of energy to support you. But they sometimes don't see the ways in which maybe not saying anything or continuing to support someone can actually be like enabling behavior, right? And I feel like they kind of maybe in a way only choose to see the best in those closest to them. Maybe in some cases they even put that person kind of like on a pedestal, you know? And it's almost like, oh, they could do no wrong. I'm hearing for some people it's almost like the idea of like a mama's boy or a daddy's girl, you know, kind of energy. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's see what else. So we have Four of Wands. Okay, so for me, I'm seeing this. There's a lot of four energy, so it's a very stable number again. So kind of going back to that conversation about earth signs. So your future spouse is someone that's, again, unwavering. It's like when they say they're going to do something, when they believe something, it's like they hold on to that so dearly, so closely. And with this, Four of Wands, I'm also seeing like, you know, when they marry you, when they commit to you and sign that sort of sacred bond or covenant, they are like with you for life, no matter what. And I see them as definitely the type of person who would never cheat on you, who would never lie or do anything behind your back that would be harmful. You know, they're, again, very, very loyal, fiercely loyal. And they honor these bonds that they have in life, these deeper connections in life. Ten of Wands. Yeah. So with this, I see that they do carry a lot of other people's burdens. You know, it's almost like they're that type of person that will always bail out their friend or their family member for like the umpteenth time, right? Like, oh, I ran out of money because I was gambling again. Okay, well, maybe you should consider not gambling anymore, but here's some money so you can pay for your rent and whatever. You know, again, that's what I mean by that enabling behavior. Or they do things for other people that are close to them, again, family, friends, whatever. You get the gist by now. Even if it creates a struggle or a hardship for them, you know, like, okay, fine, I'll give you money because you need it, even though you should be more responsible with your money. Okay, fine, yes, I know it's the middle of the night, but you know, you lost the keys to your house, so I'll drive to let you in because I have the spare keys, right? Even if it's the middle of the night, I'll get out of bed and do it, right? It's like that kind of thing. Or like, I'm in the middle of work, but you're having a crisis, so let me try to see if I can leave work to help you out. That kind of thing. Okay, one last card here. We have the Eight of Cups. So I feel like, your future spouse really defines themselves based on sort of their family ties, family relationships, and how they function within that unit. And so it's very hard for them to walk away and cut ties with people because, again, they create this bond, and it's like, I know through thick and thin, through better or for worse, I will always be by your side. I'll always stay there with you, no matter how many times I might get hurt myself. They have a hard time leaving established relationships and connections behind. They're very attached to what's familiar for them and what's predictable. So very, very interesting. So you can see kind of like the full scope, right? Like the pros and cons of certain personality traits and how they can be helpful and admirable, and in other ways, how they can be detrimental or harmful. So very interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are about your future spouse as well. These are probably traits, that you can kind of look at in multiple ways, right? On one hand, it's like this, and on other hands, this can happen. So very interesting read, but very important for you to know, I guess, at this time, or else Spirit would not have transmitted these messages through me, In any case, I really hope you enjoyed this insight and learning more about your future spouse. They sound like a wonderful and beautiful person, regardless of how the people around them are like. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to this channel because I would love to be able to do more readings for you again in the future. But thank you so much for allowing me to do this one for you today. Take care, loves. Hello there, Group 3, and welcome to your Pick a Card reading to find out a little more about the personality of your future spouse, your future partner, all right? So you were drawn to Misty Night, and it says, are you sure it's answers you want? So let's put this to the side for now, and let's reveal the second card underneath. Captain Marvel sees the day. Ooh, okay. So I'm seeing a couple of things actually to begin with your future spouse's personality. For the one thing, I think on one hand, one way you can maybe look at this is your future spouse is very secretive. They're very private. So they're not that type of person who's very talkative, very chatty, very open, particularly in public situations about what they're thinking, how they feel. They tend to keep their thoughts and opinions to themselves, and sort of their personal matters very, very private. And it's like a select group of people that they really confide in, all right? And in some ways, they are a little bit mysterious to people who are just getting to know them and don't know them that well. And on the other hand, I think for the people that do know them well, it's kind of a privilege in a way, right? That you get to see and hear and understand them on that deeper, more personal level, where they can share their innermost thoughts and desires and concerns with this, again, inner circle, this select group of people. Now, I'm also hearing too that your future spouse is a very curious person, right? That they even though they might not share a lot about themselves, they do like to know more about other people, right? So I feel like in a conversation, they're the type of person that will do a lot more of the asking and the listening rather than the talking and the sharing, I feel like that's more of their vibe. Like, I feel they're probably a really good listener, right? Again, maybe because they're just kind of curious by nature, and they just want to understand the world around them, the people around them a lot better, and they're not so focused on themselves and sharing everything about themselves with other people because maybe they just feel like it's not as interesting, right? It's like I'd rather hear more about you. Like, to me, my life is very simple, very boring in some ways, or maybe they even think like, oh, I don't want to trouble you with what's going on in my life. Like, I'd rather talk about, how your weekend went, how your vacation went, like, that kind of thing. So, that's one aspect of their personality. Now, with this Captain Marvel sees the day, I feel like your future spouse sort of has this vibe of like YOLO. you only live once kind of vibe. But I don't see it in the sense of like there's this Captain Marvel energy that's kind of coming through. That's a little bit more responsible, a little bit more forward thinking in the sense that they can kind of see the effects that the actions they take in the present can have on the future, right? They can see the potential consequences for whatever actions they do, and that will influence the decisions they make. But I see that they do take action regardless, okay? And that they are the type of person that is a bit on the adventurous side, right? Within reason, within balance. And they're open to, what I'm hearing is they're open to new experiences. I feel like maybe that's the theme for your future spouse, your future partner's personality, is they value experiences quite a bit, versus maybe, you know, material things. For example, wealth, good looks, you know, like that kind of stuff. The opinions of others, like they're more into experiencing life to the fullest, okay? And it's like they like to travel, they like to try different types of food, they like to visit all types of sites, whether it's like buildings, historical sites, or even nature, right? Like going on certain hikes or riding on a boat or whatever. Like I feel like they really enjoy experiences and doing things, you know. I'm hearing too, they might even be sort of a fan or a follower of what's trending, you know what I'm saying? So, for example, if there's a certain dish or a certain food that's really popular, like for years back, it was the cronut, for example, that kind of create a lot of media attention, especially social media attention. And now cronuts, you know, you can see them all over the world, right? So it's like that kind of thing where they follow maybe these trends and these crazes, and want to experience them for themselves and kind of see what that's like. How does that work? I remember there was like a period of time in the US where escape rooms kind of like became really popular and blew up, and a lot of people were doing them, you know? And so I feel like they tend to kind of follow those things. They, oh, I want to try that, right? They're on TikTok or YouTube, Instagram, looking at the shorts and the reels and like, oh, this looks interesting. I want to try that. Oh, that looks cool. That looks fun. Let's try that. I feel like that's kind of your future spouse's personality. Again, very open, very adventurous. And it's sort of this deeper expression, I feel, of this curiosity that they have. Like, I want to know what it feels like. I want to know what that tastes like. I want to know what that experience is like. Like, how can that maybe change or shape or grow or evolve me? Or maybe I just want to experience fun and happiness and laughter, right? And so I feel like that's part of the way they kind of operate in life, and how they approach life, and why they do some of the things that they do. Interesting. I'm getting to actually draw two cards for you from this pile. And the first two readings, it was just like one, and that was good. So let's kind of see what we have for you. So we have a mermaid card and a fairy card. I feel lost and I am free. Ooh, wow. So, okay. I have to say, out of all the piles, like I'm really getting the sense that your future spouse is deeply spiritual. They're really connected to source, to universe, to God energy, and that would explain why they want to experience this physical reality, this physical dimension, human life to the fullest. Okay, so on one hand, with this I feel lost card, I see that your future self, wow, maybe could have been you right now as well. Like maybe you can relate to your future spouse, your future partner, because of this feeling of lost, feeling like you maybe don't know who you are. And I'm talking about you, and then also your future spouse, your future partner. You don't know who you are, and so part of finding yourself is through these experiences, through trying different things, so you can see what you like and see what you don't like. Because perhaps in general, there's this feeling of impartialness, this feeling of neutrality, and it's it can be a very uncomfortable place to be in when you're like, well, I don't know what I like, I don't know what I don't like I can go either way, and it's almost like you don't know who you are because of it, you know? And so that's why you, and again, also maybe your future spouse, future partner, like to have these experiences, like to try and do different things to kind of find out more about yourself and who you are, what you're capable of, what you love, what you don't like, and what sort of excites you, right? And what is kind of like, you know, not your cup of tea and you have no interest in whatsoever, and you didn't find it fun, you didn't find it amusing, you would never do it again, kind of thing. So I feel that's part of their personality and energy. And I can see too that they also, you know, we were talking earlier about how they like to ask a lot of questions and they're very curious about, you know, the world and the way things are and other people's lives and things. It's because they learn a lot from other people's experiences and from other ways of doing things by like hearing, you know, these stories that other people share, and they start to have a better understanding of what's out there, what's possible, what might be a struggle. And so it helps really form this concept and this identity for themselves and for the world at large. Okay, now with this I am free, what I'm feeling with this card as well is your future spouse is very malleable. Okay, so again, I love when I do these readings and the messages are so distinct, so different from each other, because the personality in group two, that personality was a little bit more rigid, and it's a complete opposite to this person in your reading. This future spouse, this future partner, is they're very open to shifting, very open to changing, you know? And that's, I think, expected when you're learning constantly and you're receiving new pieces of information and wisdom, that maybe your previous thoughts and notions shift and change. And that's this freedom that your future spouse or future partner has. They don't let the past define them. Okay, they're probably that type of person who like shifts careers and jobs, like, you know, in their 40s, changes directions completely. They're probably that type of person too who might even be unrecognizable to people who knew them when they were younger, right? Like if they met up with a high school friend, the high school friend would feel like they're a completely different person, you know, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s. It's like, wow, you have changed a lot since, you know, high school or college or university, because your future spouse is someone who constantly grows and shifts. I feel like they're also very adaptable. Okay, because again, they're not attached to the way things should be or have been. They're not attached to this notion of this is how things need to be because that's what I know from my past. That's what I've experienced before. So they're very, very open to shifting and changing. I feel like that can create a bit of a problem for some people who are a little bit more rigid and who need a little bit more sort of structure in their life. And predictability, you know, and it could be that this person may have, you know, made a lot of friends, but also lost a lot of friends, and not because of some bad fallout. It's just because, you know, they've changed so much and they just don't have the same interests or the same values or mindset as friends that they had before. That's kind of what I'm hearing. So I wouldn't be surprised if your future spouse maybe comes off as a bit of like a wanderer, a free spirit, someone who has like a lot of acquaintances, but maybe not a lot of close friends because, you know, again, some people have a hard time adjusting or adapting when the people around them change or when the circumstances change. Like I've been really blessed that throughout the different phases of my life, like I have had friends who have seen me grow and seen me shift and seen me evolve and accept me, you know, no matter what phase I'm in. Like for the longest time, for example, I was such a science person. Like I was all about like what does the studies say? What does research show? I did not believe in like tarot cards and crystals and, you know, essential oils and all that. I thought that was like woo-woo stuff. That is like ridiculous. And now I'm so open to it, and it's become this part of my being where it's like balancing out the science knowledge with this spiritual, natural sort of wisdom. And some people, like in the medical field, like they don't get that, you know? And those people who I was friends with and studied with, like we're just not on the same page anymore, and we don't kind of believe the same things, and so we kind of just drift apart, right? It's not that we don't like each other or anything, it's just like, oh, we don't really have that commonality between us. So I feel like your future spouse kind of has that same experience, perhaps. Like when they were in school, they were this type of person and they had this type of interest, so they were around these type of people. And then as they've gone and had their own experiences and met new people, they've changed and evolved, and some of those friends kind of drifted away, drifted apart. So very, very interesting. It's almost, you know, like your future spouse, your future partner is constantly adapting, and at times that's why they might feel lost, because they get new information and it's like really affects their sense of self or who they thought they were, and then they're like, oh, I don't know who I am anymore in light of this new knowledge, in light of this new circumstance, right? It's almost like, again, with this changing careers, like, well, I don't know what I would be if I weren't a lawyer, if I weren't a chef, you know, if I weren't a performer, like I don't know what else I would do. And it's this having to find yourself again and find out what other aspects of who you are exist within you. Okay, let's get these tarot cards out and see what else we can find about your future spouse. I am loving this reading so far. So, okay, we have the Emperor here. Oh, I love this. So what I'm already feeling to mention and share with you is, because your future spouse has had so many experiences, has traveled so much, done and tried so many different things, over time, people start to look at them more and more as like a leader, a guide, a source of wisdom, of advice, even, you know? I'm really seeing that. And I'm also seeing too, you know, the more information that your future spouse gets about the world and about the way people operate and function, it's kind of like they can start to see maybe the patterns of the world and the natural flow and order of things, you know? They can see the bigger picture, right? It's kind of like, I was talking to one of my friends the other day about retirement and about investments and like retirement plans and stuff like that. And you know, the economy is one of those cyclical things where it's like there's periods of growth and profit, and then there's periods of loss and downturn and struggle, right? And that's one of the things that has happened in the aftermath of the pandemic, is like the economy has really taken a dive, and eventually it will kind of recover and build up again, and it's about it's just really a matter of time. And so your future spouse isn't that type of person that heads into panic and like freaking out and like sleepless nights, anxiety when things get bad, because they know eventually something will change that will get things moving back in a more positive direction. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that clearly. Okay, so I need to make a little bit of space because I drew two of these beautiful cards here for you. I need to kind of overlap a bit so we have room for your tarot cards. You can see them. Okay, so we have Emperor. We have the Four of Wands. I really feel this energy of celebrating life with your future spouse. Like they see life in all of its beauty, again, because they've acquired so much knowledge, so much information, so much opinions and experiences from other people as well as themselves, that life is a big celebration for them, and it's a source of endless wonder, endless entertainment, endless surprises. All right, and they do have that joie de vivre, I think is the French way of saying that joy of life. Um, Really beautiful. I'm sensing just very beautiful, bright, soft energy coming from your future spouse. We have the Three of Coins. Yes, this is all about collaboration. So I'm hearing that your future spouse is someone that's very humble. And what I mean by that is they're that type of person that never acts like a know-it-all. And that sometimes can come through with this Emperor energy. Is this sort of like know-it-all energy, like I'm the wisest, I'm the smartest, I'm the boss, so what I say goes. Like, I don't get that vibe from your future spouse at all. I get more like no man is an island, you know, that phrase where it's like everybody can come together, everybody has a role, everybody has something to contribute, everybody has value. Let's work together. Okay, that's this Three of Coins energy that's coming. Let's work together to make the best out of a situation, or to improve what's happening, or to help each other, or let's rise all together, you know. There's this phrase that I thought was so beautiful, like a rising tide raises all ships. So it speaks to, like, you don't have to be better than someone else to get what you need. You don't always have to be in competition to prove yourself to anybody, or to improve, right? Um, Everyone can benefit. There are situations and scenarios in which we can achieve that ideal of a like win-win, right? And your future spouse is very aware of that, and they can see that, and they know that, you know, very little on this earth rests on the shoulders of one person, you know. A lot of it is like the efforts and the energy and the input of multiple people. Oh, we have the Page of Wands. This is what I'm talking about again, like this wonder and curiosity of life. Like, look at this little flower, this little sprout here. I hope you can see it. See how it's like blossoming out of the end of this staff, this wand. It's so cool. Um, and I feel like, again, this is your future spouse, your future partner. This is their outlook on life. This is how they view the world. A source of endless wonder. They're constantly amused. They're constantly entertained. They're constantly surprised at things, and they take joy in it, right? They're free. They're not attached to things. So when life can surprise them, it really makes them happy. When things kind of happen out of the blue or unexpectedly, they love that stuff. And it kind of, I feel like it restores their faith in life, and it restores sort of this notion again about things will work out eventually, you know, and struggle and suffering is just temporary. It's just a temporary thing. I think that's actually a very beautiful way to look at it, to be honest, as I'm saying it out loud, as I'm channeling it from spirit, is struggle and suffering is a temporary state of being, and your future spouse gets that on a deep level. It's like part of their outlook. So they never, it seems to me like they never really fall into like despair and depression, because they know, like, okay, I'm sad, but sadness is a temporary feeling. So I'll experience the sadness now, or I'll experience this fear now, and I will move forward. Okay, like this Captain Marvel, you know? It's reminding me of this scene in, what is it, Infinity War? The second part, where she comes through the atmosphere and like just punches through all of the big spaceships and stuff that Thanos brings. Like, you know, that's how your future spouse is like. It's like, okay, I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna keep moving. Maybe my pace is gonna slow down. Maybe I'll have to stop and take a rest, but I'm gonna get back up eventually and get moving, and continue on my journey. Yeah, this, like, again, this passion for life that's coming through is so amazing. Ace of Swords. So your future spouse definitely always has a lot of new ideas, a lot of new information. I get too that at times, again, maybe with their inner circle, they like to share the new things that they've learned, the new things that they've heard, the new wisdom that they've gained from other people and from other sources and other cultures and all that kind of stuff. I feel like your future spouse is very big on like intellectual stimulation and spiritual stimulation, right? They like to experience things. They like to learn new things. That's kind of where what excites them the most in life, and how they continue to keep moving forward and stay active and stay engaged with the world and the people around them is through ideas and knowledge and experiences. Um, so very, very beautiful. I loved all the readings today. I hope you loved your reading as well, group 3. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Let me know what you thought of your reading in the comments down below. And before you move on to the next video or the next thing for the day, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I would love to continue to do readings for you. And for today, I really hope you have a beautiful day, and thank you for spending time with me. See you next time.